My sister wants me to move my wedding date again because she'll have a newborn, but I already changed it once for her. So, I'm in a bit of a weird situation. My fiancé and I aren't the most traditional and wanted to have our wedding as more of a family vacation with the bonus of a wedding. My parents have a beautiful lakefront house that we decided to have our wedding at. When we were initially planning our wedding and figuring out dates, I wanted to have it on June 26th. The 26th was important to us because that's the day my fiancé and I first met, but when speaking it over to my family, my sister said no because she already had a vacation on that date. I was sad, but it wasn't the end of the world, so we decided on June 4th to June 9th. Everything was working out perfectly. I let both of our families know to put our wedding down for those dates and started wedding planning. It was all perfect until last night. I got a FaceTime from my dad who showed me the ultrasound and I was super excited. All of the congratulations jumping around because I'm going to be an auntie. I'm so excited for them and for my future niece or nephew. But it all came crashing down when I asked my sister when she is due and she said May 1st, so we're going to have to talk about your wedding. I assumed she just meant that she wasn't going to be able to be in attendance. So I told them that it's okay, we can just FaceTime them in, and her jaw dropped. Then my mom said we can just push it back to September. I knew my emotions would get the best of me, so I said we can talk about it later, so we went back to congratulations and thinking of baby names. After the call, I won't lie, I completely broke down. I had already changed my wedding dates once before to accommodate my sister, and while I was okay with that at the time, I didn't make a fuss about it. But now, after spending 7 months carefully planning our wedding around this new date, and having my fiancé's family adjust their schedules and plans accordingly, the idea of changing it again feels overwhelming. I really don't want to have to move everything again, especially after all the effort and coordination that's already gone into it. Unfortunately, I know my family all too well, and I'm certain they'll keep pressuring me to change the date, disregarding my decision if I don't. I understand that traveling with a newborn is going to be challenging, which is why I suggested FaceTiming her into the wedding as an alternative. However, it seems like they took offense to that idea, as if not having my sister physically present is unacceptable to them, even though it's a reasonable compromise given the circumstances. I feel an overwhelming sense of guilt for being upset about potentially changing my wedding dates just because my sister is pregnant. She's about to bring a beautiful new family member into our lives, which should be a joyous occasion, but I can't help feeling heartbroken. If I don't agree to move the wedding date, I'm worried my family will see me as inconsiderate and selfish, making me feel like the villain in a situation that's already emotionally tough for me. So am I the asshole for not wanting to punch back my wedding because my sister is pregnant? Comments. Kool-Aid 1349. I'd move it back to the 26th, because that's the day that matters to you and your fiancé. Now she'll only want to go if she can bring the baby, or she'll probably try and get you to move it even further, saying so she's not traveling with a newborn. Obviously people are going to be upset no matter what you do or don't do, but all that really matters is you and your fiancé, because the moment we're all are married, you're each other's main priorities and no one else should matter when it comes to what you both want. Misakuro. This is the one. Push it back only to the 26th as a compromise, but mostly because that date is the one important to you, and it shows you're offering a compromise. Include in the offer to FaceTime her in if it still doesn't work for her, and you'll understand if she can't be there in person, but this is your day and the one day that is only about you and your fiancé, and you already accommodated the date change once despite not having to, and that the initials accommodation should have been her cancelling or rescheduling her vacation for your wedding, because the date is meaningful to you and your fiancé and she can take that vacation anytime. Also, how much do we want to bet sister is still going to go on the vacation? Dog Poundma. Tell us our sister is the golden child without saying it. OOP. My sister is the golden child of the family. It's not really a secret or tried to be hidden. She's extremely involved in the family, visits them every weekend while I live across the country, so I only visit them typically once a year but do FaceTime them regularly. My parents are also very money driven and my sister is a doctor in comparison to my brother and I who do trades. She's the definition of the perfect child. She also typically plans all trips, vacations or outings for my family because she's extremely type A and likes to have control situations. She's a bit stubborn and likes things her way or not at all. We've always just gone with it because it's easier. I expected my wedding to be the line, but I guess not. Update 9 days later. A lot has happened over the past few days, and things have really escalated. The day after I made my post, I called my brother to talk things through, and he completely understood where I was coming from. He was very supportive and told me that I absolutely should not change my wedding date. Since I was really worried about talking to my mom, especially with the chance of being ganged up on, we came up with a plan. We decided on the best time to talk to her about not wanting to change the wedding dates, and my brother offered to be there for support, in case my emotions got the best of me during the conversation. Having him there was supposed to help keep things calm and focused. That didn't happen, My mom called me the next day to talk it over. I informed her that I was not going to change my wedding date, and she was upset initially but surprisingly receptive to it. I was extremely happy about that, until she said you need to talk to your sister about this, because she's not going to be happy about being forced out 1 month postpartum unways. Explained I wasn't expecting forcing her to be in attendance. Then my mom said no, she's coming to your wedding, I don't care if she's a new mom. After that, I ended up getting into a bit of an argument with my mom, because she was insisting my sister do something that clearly wasn't in her or her future family's best interest. I ended up hanging up on her, as I don't respond well to being spoken to in a harsh tone. I usually suggest taking a moment to reevaluate the conversation before continuing. During the call, my mom also let it slip that she was really disappointed in me for turning to my brother for support instead of her. She accused me of stirring up unnecessary family drama, but honestly, I just needed a different perspective from someone in the family, and that's why I called my brother. The next day, I tried calling my sister, but she declined the call. So, I ended up texting her instead, explaining that I wouldn't be changing my wedding dates. The message was quite long, detailing my reasons and emotions behind the decision. She replied a day later with a dismissive, "You and I both know that your wedding dates aren't officially set, and the only hurdle is communicating the change to your fiancé's family. I hope the hassle is worth missing out on having your literal niece or nephew there." I explained that I have already put money down on multiple things as well as having my fiancé's family planning accommodating around this date for 7 months. She was not receptive in my opinion and said there are really no excuses. You have the power to move the date even just a little later in the summer to include me, and you're choosing not to. That hurts, which I ended up responding that I'm not choosing to not have her at my wedding, but understand she may not be able to come and will have to FaceTime in instead, as well as explain that I already moved my wedding date once to accommodate her. I asked her to try to put herself in my shoes and how she would have felt if I asked to push back her wedding, which she replied I would have moved my date in a heartbeat. That's the difference between us. At that point I decided to offer up pushing it back to the 26th of June, as some comments said to see if she would still be going to her previously planned vacation, which, thank God I did, because she told me she couldn't do the 26th, as she's still going to go on her vacation 20 days after my wedding. I'm not the most knowledgeable about babies since I don't have one and have only known my Beth's baby, but I don't feel like there are a huge difference between traveling with a 1-month-old and a 1.5-month-old. So that's solidified in my mind that she doesn't care about me, my fiancé, or our feelings, but still expects everyone to accommodate to her. At this point, as per my fiancé's advice, I'm putting it in the effort drawer in my head, and I'm not going to stress about it anymore, because everyone knows the date is set. If my family would like to show up to my wedding, that would be amazing, but if not, I'm not going to be upset. At the end of the day, this will just show me who to prioritize as family in my life, because family is not always blood. Comments. Mittel_cat29. You're right, it's about her being accommodated. Traveling with an infant is hard at 1 month or 1.5, so she's willing to do it for vacation, but not your wedding. That speaks volumes. Let her stay home and you and those in attendance have a great time without her entitled $1. Seahorse 8021. The thing is, she'd rather keep her plans than accommodate OP for their literal wedding, so she wants to keep her traveling with her newborn to 1 trip, not 2. The fact is, that's not OP's problem, nor should it be. If she wants to be at the wedding, she will be. If she doesn't want to, then she can enjoy her 2 more weeks with her newborn before she travels with them. Lumpy_marsupial_1559. I would have moved my date in a heartbeat. That's the difference between us. Also nope, I can't do the 26th. I'm going on holiday. Hey, OP, if she doesn't show at your wedding and anyone asks why she's not there, it might be baby related. I did offer to move the wedding to the 26th to make it easier for her, but she didn't want to move her holiday, so here we are.